Hey there folks, and welcome back for another quick lesson. Today I'm just going to provide for you a quick little demonstration. I've time-lapsed a sketch of one of my characters, just a bust of their head on a 3/4, more of a down shot, and I drew the character's head on a neck as well, just to make it look like it's not floating in space. So the time lapse is about a minute. Sit, watch it. I'm gonna sit here and watch it with you, and then afterwards I'll break down some things. As you're watching it, try to take note of how I construct the face. I don't necessarily do it how I've preached in my lessons, but you'll see very quickly how all the structure points in the face and measurement areas, as I laid out in the maps of the face video, take shape pretty quickly as I go through my sketch and into the final line drawing. Anyway, watch it, and we'll talk about it afterwards, and I'll break down the face a little more. And roll. So at this point in the drawing, I've got my face of my character sketched in there, and as you can see, there are quite a bit of structural points from the skull itself butting through my character's facial expression. So, note what those things are. If you've watched my lesson videos detailing how to draw the face and understand the face up until this point, a lot of this stuff should make sense to you at this point. And like I said before, the latter part of this video is me actually lining this drawing. So now I add in my hair, my neck, and just kind of strengthening some of the structural points in the face, sizing down, and then I go in for the kill here. Now I chose a 3/4, of course, because it really pushes your understanding of form, as you have to draw the head contorting and foreshortening as areas in the face become closer to the camera and other areas in the face fade away. So I'm kind of using perspective and all the anatomical functions in alignment with one another to create the face. Plus, I've already designed my character prior to this video, so I know what he looks like, and I've worked out all the design elements of him. So there you have it. There's the final line drawing. And if I was to go into Photoshop right now, and over top of the final drawing here, I'll just quickly emphasize all the structural points up into this point that I've made. Okay, we'll dim this layer just a tad so we can make the examples. Using red, we can look at the bone structure and the actual particular, excuse me, let's do this. We can see the bone structure and actually be able to name now, from what I've taught you guys, name what we're seeing coming through the face. So our temporal lines, our temporal bone there, and the zygomatic bone leading into the zygomatic process. Excuse me, the zygomatic bone leading into the zygomatic process, going back and curling in and around the cranium there. That's all there. And just to take it down a notch, you can just see the angle that I've emphasized, that the brow here forms a bit of a canopy over the edge of the zygomatic bone, okay, which creates the eye socket. If you look at the front of the forehead, you've got that area designated. For the forehead, you've got your supraorbital foramen, okay, distinguished. Yes, it's in 3/4. Yes, it's foreshortening here and expanding here towards the camera. Keep that in mind. Or, you know, if this was a playing field, you know, this is the center point, right? Anyhow, the cranium shape here, you know, it rides somewhere in the back of the skull, which is right here, all the way up. You can't see it. Then it starts to become prominent, comes into the forehead, down, comes down through the forehead, and then cuts in here, right, to the bridge of the nose, which I've taught you guys before. Alright, so now that we've got that area, we know where we can draw our eye line on. We're going to create our eyes from the same line there, starting with the eye ducts. Remember, our eyes, they kind of come out. And on this side, they're a little higher than they are on this side. So keep that in mind even when you're drawing in 3/4. Try to indicate that the best you can. We know the eye socket, it cuts in here. And that's why we're getting such a overlap with the supraorbital foramen and essentially the muscles in the eyebrow area forming over the eyeball. The eyeball would actually be sitting underneath it like so, right? That just gives you an idea of how far you can push your proportions when you're, I guess, caricaturing the stylized features over your character. Anyhow, you've got your you've got your nasal bone in there. It's pretty prominent. I've even got a shape in there for it, and you can see that it follows into the rest of the face. I'm starting to forget all the names of those facial muscles I taught you guys, but there is a video where I illustrate them. Anyhow, that's one of those muscles, and we've got skin and overlaps going over top of it. I've also got it mimicked on this side, but you can barely see it. This right here would be the far nostril. This would be that muscle leading right up into that bridge of the nose eye socket area, down into the mouth area, you know. So on the other side, it's kind of tucked in behind. We really can't see it as this side of the face foreshortens, right? But that's all built off that nasal bone and brow area. You know, the other eye in the other socket foreshortened. In fact, probably where the duct is overlapped by the bridge of the nose and the actual nose contour line, right? We know that this nose can't go any further because we're measuring up the nose in accordance to where I've told you to measure the rest of the facial features. When we use the eye duct principle to have the eye ducts and the nostrils line up with one another, we give ourselves a fair distance as to where that nostril needs to sit in place next to where we've drawn the nasal bone, and in accordance to how that cartilage in the nose is actually going to overlap when we're looking at the head, of course, at this 3/4 down shot, right? But this is a good way to think about it. The contour line for this side of the face, it's not necessarily parallel, okay? It's doing its own thing on this side of the face, right? You've got the top of the head here meeting what would be the top of the forehead in this area, okay? The forehead and cranium kind of cuts down like this, and then your temporal lines are wrapping back this way where we can't see them, and up and over and into the brow, okay? Kind of into the supraorbital foramen, alright? Also working into the temporal bone, which is like right here, okay? But we can't see it because this supraorbital foramen is jutting over top of it like so, okay? So just mind those illustrations I've drawn. That's why I did this contour line here to represent the brow or the supraorbital foramen. I drew this line right here to represent the skin and muscle that pinches between those 2 points, when we squint, such as my character, and then obviously emphasized it again on this side. Not only that there's muscle there, not only that there's bone underneath, but that, there's an expression formed, you know. Keep in mind too, I'm keeping all of these invisible lines going to where I want you to look, which is, this area of his face. Okay? Your cheekbones here, like I said, with the forehead, it's not parallel with the other side. It's foreshortened, so it's changing, so you have to understand that this outside contour line is going to be different than what you might assume it to be. This, like, look at how much cheekbone we really see there, whereas over here, we get the full picture. We can see it ride right back into the head, on this side, you're really only seeing this. All right. Once you've got cheekbones, okay, or the zygomatic process kind of illustrated in there, how it's jutting out, how the ear is forming over top of it. That's another good way to kind of butt it in there. Have your ear in there, which is going to overlap that contour line in the final drawing. How that comes out into the rest of the face. Okay, I've got the edge of my mouth underneath my facial hair, basically like that, and it lines up, the corners of the mouth line up perfectly with the centers of the eye, like I've taught you. If we come out in perspective here, they're no longer than the width of my character's chin. If we use the tip of the nose to the tip of the chin rule, underneath all that hair, there's a tip of the chin probably right in this area. And if I was to draw it down, you probably get that relationship here somewhere. Now, keep in mind, my character's stylized, so it doesn't have to be perfect. More or less, in this case, you really just want the tip of the nose, the tip of the chin to line up, tip of the forehead to be no further than the mouth, and that your lines are articulating all of these ins and outs of the face. Okay, another way I'm doing this, which you can't see, is that there's kind of like an invisible perspective grid going on here, and they're fraying out the lines ever so, right? That's kind of how they're going. And then at some point, like right here, they're starting to cut back, cut back, cut back, cut back, cut back. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? If we had a shape over here, it'd be like this. If we had a shape over here, it'd be like this. Okay? And that's really about it, You play around. If the back of the head starts to look too big, you size it down. If that's how you want your character to look, you keep it. You build everything around those playing fields. And, without me having to do any of the perspective or the box or any of the stuff I've taught you in prior videos, you can see from the time lapse that that once you practice all this stuff enough, you just start drawing with it instinctively. You start looking for the areas in the face to correct. And I don't know, if you think I'm right, let me know in the comments. And I hope this video made more sense. It's about time we kind of take all the things I've tried to teach you and pull them together and show you how they work in the long run. All right? So get after it, people. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that little red wolf underneath me. Become a subscriber today. Check me out on other social media platforms. I'm here on Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, and Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. I stream live doing demonstrations, working on whatever commissioned work or projects I have on the go for my audience, taking requests for songs, you name it. Come check us out. It's always a fun time over there. And yeah, I'll have more videos out for you soon. Thanks for your time, people. Have a good day.